guys, and welcome back to the Gone for 10 show. It is the second Friday night game that's coming at you from 8 p.m. It's the Battle of Brookvale. Now, yes, I know it is now called Four Plains Park, but for anyone growing up in the era of that absolute punches getting thrown, all in brawls that did happen at that stadium, it'll always be known as the Battle of Brookvale. Now, whenever these two teams do play, it's the Manly Sea Eagles, the Melbourne Storm. It's always an entertaining battle, with the last meeting being a 36-30 win for Manly at Brookvale, where it was just an absolute shootout last year in June. So, yes, Manly did win the last game. They're over a record since 1988. Storm do lead the head-to-head 25-16, and there's been one draw played out between the sides. But this is two sides who, during those 2008 through to 2012s, definitely did dominate the NRL in a sense, with both teams playing in finals, both teams winning finals. A massive blowout for Manly when they did beat Melbourne in that game. But obviously on paper, they both are very solid squads, and they're coming in completely contrasting form at the moment. You have the Melbourne Storm coming into this game off the back of a 28-8 win against the Roosters, where Cameron Munster and Harry Grant ran the show, and they showed what could be to come when it does get to Origin time, when they put on that Maroons jersey. Whereas the Manly Sea Eagles, I'm not even sure if they got off the bus when they rocked up to Penrith and they got done 44-12. So one team is definitely on a bit of a roll. The other team is looking to bounce back and definitely try and show, hey guys, last week was a blip in our season. Let's get our season back on track. But let's look at the team list for this one. You've got Tom Trbojevic, Jason Saab, Brad Parker, Morgan Harper, Raymond Vega, Cooper Johns, Daly Cherry Evans, Tanila Paseka, Lachlan Croker, Jake Trbojevic, Olakwaku, Kelma Tuolagi, Josh Alloway, KO Weeks, Ethan Bullimore, Aaron Woods, Tuafoa Sipley, and Sean Kepi for the Manly Sea Eagles side. Now, a few changes to Anthony Seibold's side. He has obviously said today that Tom Trbojevic is good to go. We saw those scenes in the sheds last week at halftime. We heard about the painkiller injection, so we do hope that he is fully fit. And if he isn't, they use a bit of common sense and rest him in this game rather than injuring him. Because, God, in a couple of weeks when he pulls on that New South Wales jersey, I think everyone in New South Wales will be cheering him on. But Ruben Garrick obviously is out after his head injury assessment that he failed last week. Raymond Tamila Viega is set to play his third game of NRL on the win. Kyle Lawton with his shoulder has also been ruled out, which means the Australian prop that did just come from the Dragons, Aaron Woods, is caught off the bench for his first appearance in Manly colours, with Sipley joining Woods on the bench, with Kepi going to 18th man. Now, Josh Schuster, he does have, they said it was a quad strain, a quad injury, but this is now a couple of weeks where he has pulled out of the squad. So Cooper Johns does pull back on that number 6 jersey and does go into that 5'8 position, where KO Weeks returns from interchange, while obviously Jake Trbojevic, they have said, like we said, is good to go. So still a solid squad on paper. I think Jason Saab coming back into that lineup last week, it probably didn't show where he was at. He was a little bit uncomfortable under the high ball. He made a few errors. He didn't look as explosive. But when you come up against a Panthers side who absolutely dominates you and finish 44-12, where it could have been worse if Panthers didn't take their foot off the pedal, no one's probably going to look good in a losing side. So they will be looking to bounce back and make a statement, but they're going up against a team that did make a statement last week. It is the Melbourne Storm. You've got Cameron Munster at fullback with Will Warbrick, Remus Smith, Justin Olam, Xavier Coates, Jonah Pizzette, Jerome Hughes, Tia Kamakika, Harry Grant, Christian Welsh, Trent Leore, Alicia Katoa, Josh Kinn, Bronson Garlick, Alec MacDonald, Tom Eisenherf, Tarek Sims, and Grant Anderson in the 18th man position. Now, obviously, Nick Meaney did originally go off with a grade 2. We thought he was going to be okay for this game. He has had further symptoms. He passed all tests originally, but he has had further concussion systems following their win over the Roosters. So he is out of this squad. Cameron Munster, like we said, does go into fullback. And Jonah Pizzette, who did partner when there was a suspension and injury, does come back in to partner Jerome Hughes in the halves. So you do have a few big players in here. You've got Faluga, who is on the extended bench, so if they do need a bit more depth, he could come in, he could make his debut. And if you are a Melbourne Storms fan, Nelson Solomona is edging closer to his return. Round 8 is looking like the likeliness for that, and obviously Ryan Pappenhausen is back in training. So you do have a strong lineup here. You do have some players coming back. We've said it week in, week out. You're a crazy man to rule off the Melbourne Storm like a lot of pundits have. But hey, you always end up with egg in your face, especially when they are under Bellamy. So it is a strong squad. I do expect that Cameron Munster will have an absolute cracking game at fullback. He always does. I'd almost expect him to get back over the stripe. So we'll see how this game goes. Obviously, you've got Jonah Pizzette coming in. Jerome Hughes will be leading the ship. They've still got the outside backs that can dominate. I'm interested to see how Tariq Sims, Eisenhuth do go off the bench. And obviously, if Sualavi Falogo does get on, I'm excited to see how he can explode onto the scene, because we know how Melbourne go when they do bleed people into the games. But I'm going to go with Baxter's tip first. Baxter has gone again in a 1-12 to the Melbourne Storm. I'm going to go a bit further, and I'm going to say that Melbourne Storm continue that dominance that they showed last week. Manly, they're shaken, they're beaten, they don't know what their identity is at the moment. Tom Trebojevic is hurting. DCE always plays his best football when Tommy is firing. Jason Slab's still coming back from injury. So Baxter's gone 1-12 Melbourne. I'm going to go 13 plus Melbourne. Let us know your predictions in the comments. Let us know what your thoughts are. Who stands up in this game? Who makes the difference in this game? Who scores? Let us know all of this in the comments. And obviously, guys, if you haven't, we're 9 likes away from 300. So hit subscribe. 9 subscribes away from 300. So hit subscribe, hit like, and we'll be back with Super Saturday.